Hi, now I'm showing you some tips and tricks for SimSolid contact checking. And why contact checking is important is that you might have had cases where you have used too low contact tolerance value, or there might be parts in your assembly which are not aligned properly, or maybe you have used too low contact resolution in some studies. But to go to an example, I have already created connections in my design study number 1. And if I click connections and right click it, I can press show all, and now I can inspect all the contact points that are connecting these different parts together. And for example, if I zoom in, you can see that these curved flanges are not really connected, as the contact tolerance value is not sufficient in this case. But okay, if you go to connections, there are a couple of handy tools that might be helpful for you. So first of all, there is this find and show disconnected groups of parts, and when pressed, this tells whether you have disconnected parts in your assembly or not. And in this case, there aren't any. And the other handy tool is review regular connections, and this will tell you some useful information about individual contacts you have in your assembly. And you can, for example, sort these contacts by number of contact points and go to the lower values. And now, if I would like to review, for example, contact between different beams that have the lowest value of contact points, I can go to, for example, this contact and zoom in. And I can see that there are 23 contact points, and in this case, it might not be sufficient. As a good practice is that you need to have at least 2 contact points in a line to make the contact really carry moment load as it should be carrying. So in this case, it might be useful to actually create these contacts between these different parts again. And there is actually another quite handy technique what you can use when inspecting contacts. So if I go to design study number 2, I can use modal analysis to check if the contacts are done properly. So if I go to connections and create automatic connections, and I will use intentionally way too low contact tolerance value, for example 0.1 millimeter, and now I'm already expecting that these contacts are not properly made, and hit OK. I can check these contacts with show all and see the contact points. And what I can do now, I can go to different analysis and to modal and check modal analysis. And for example, I can inspect 15 modes. And I'm really not that interested in the accuracy or the natural frequencies of these different modes. I'm only interested in are these parts connected or not. So now when I run this analysis, it's really fast. And when I go to results, well, in the results, first of all, you can see that there are these 6 rigid modes. But these actually are just a part of the solution because I haven't used any boundary conditions for my analysis. And if you do so by yourself, you can ignore these 6 first modes. But when I go to the 7th mode and see how it's animated, I can actually right away see that these different 3 beams right here are not connected at all to these beams where they should be connected. And if I check, for example, the 8th mode, now it's even more apparent that these really are not connected together. So this modal analysis is a really good tool for visually checking that everything is connected. And based on your contact checks, you can create contacts again, or you can create contacts for individual parts if they are needed. Thank you.